Slangin The Bizkit, episode 35, joined by Pat Shea. Great to see you back again, my friend. Did you just call me a drive turkey?
No, let's settle down here, fella.
I think you just called me a drive turkey.
No.
It's a little over the line, my man. Come on, Lou. Nobody called anybody a JT.
What a movie. Semi-Pro, Love Me Sexy.
Jackie, Love Me Sexy is the worst song I've ever heard. Lou, I know you slept with Mrs. Pepperfield. Rah! I know that's funny because we're saying things that aren't true, especially that more than the rest. What a great movie.
It is one of the good ones.
Yes. So Slangin The Bizkit, episode 35. Happy to be back. Happy to have Pat back as well. Last week was a very exciting episode. We got a couple things to go over.
I disappeared.
Yes, you were gone. I had no idea where you were, and then I just got like 30 messages that were like, "Hey, did you happen to see Pat got into a fight? Dummied the guy, put him on his back end. Did you see that he got a Gino? He got a Gordie in his first game."
I almost had the Gordie Howe hat trick.
We're saying the Gordie because you assisted me the video for the fight. That's we're doing a play on words. Yeah.
No, you're right, and and if you count the video, I'm gonna make a vlog like including that stuff. That's an assist. That's something. It's a Gordie Howe, or it's a new version of it. It was interesting. First game. It wasn't exactly how I envisioned it happening, but it was interesting.
And it was a pretty impressive display of the fight. Right off the face off, some French guy, we don't know how to say his name, nor I don't think anybody ever will.
You asked me, dude, I still don't know. It's like Guilamare, I don't know. But he have you ever had on ice Tilly as a goalie?
Twice, both the players. Yeah, it is very hard with the
Bucky's off
and the gravity. Yes, Bucky's off both times. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. Actually, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna describe the moment, give a little more intimacy. But it was obviously first game, so I'm kind of actually it was my first game in it was like over a year and a half since I've played a competitive hockey game. So I hopped in from men's league into pro in like a week and a half. So then you get the jitters out, and actually first period the goal happened, and just a good play. Got to use the Jets. Got the Jets buzzing up the side as we were breaking out of the zone. Guy flipped it up into the center, and I was zipped in for a little breakaway goal. And that was definitely a good feeling. Haven't scored since.
Where'd you tuck it? Where'd you bury?
I went below the glove.
Oh, that's a good shot.
Above the pad, I snuck it in. And that was definitely a good feeling. First period back after a year and a half break, and then. Second period, I'm just getting back in the flow. Jitters are out, flowing. Like it's. I think we're up 2-1 or 3-1. We're up 3-1.
Hold on. What was the celly of choice? You scored the goal. What was the celly?
It was just the most. There's a picture of it somewhere. But I just gave the one hand up. Like I've been here before, even though I haven't.
Thanks for coming. How are you? Just
yeah. And I gave like a little like fucking like woohoo. I'm not a big celly guy. I think it's a little extra at times. But I come out second and we're up like 3-1. So like if you're winning 3-1, it's not like a need for a energy shifting fight or anything, Not that I don't even really think they're necessary in general. I think like the stage fights are kind of like outdated and kind of dumb in general, but whatever. So you're not looking for them. Maybe they're trying to get a change of momentum. So this guy like comes out, wants to go me. And he like, we're at the face off and he just kind of leans over. He's like, "Hey." He kind of looked a little kind of crazy guy. He was a Frenchie, obviously. He get like, "Hey, you want to go?
You want to go to the tabernacle?"
But I couldn't understand him really when he said it. So I was like what?
You sound like a dog with peanut butter on the roof of your mouth.
I'm like, "Oh, want to go?" I'm like, I'm like, I don't really have a need to. I don't have a need to fight you. He's like, why? I'm like, well, we're winning. Like, why would I give you the chance to get the energy? You know, like whatever. And then he's like, go, come on. I'm not tough. I'm like, okay. Right. So I don't know why anyone would ever say that going in for a Tilly. It's probably trying to like catch someone off guard or something, you know, like, oh, I'm not tough. Trying to get me to like go in like expecting nothing kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Get your guard down.
Yeah. And I also think he kind of saw me as an easier target just because like he was trying to get like an energy shifting thing, and I'm a smaller guy, you know, whatever. So whatever, he comes up to me as like the puck drops and he's like, come in. So I was like, all right, like, fuck it. I'm not like, you want to go, like, we'll throw. So we had a little chuck. We chucked a couple fists, a little bit. I threw body shots. I don't know if you saw them.
I saw that. I was impressed. I was like, man, he's been watching the Jorge Masvidal training clips.
One of the body shots actually landed good on him. Like it like made a good impact on his stomach. Probably stung the ribs a little. He hit me once.
I saw that. Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of steam behind it, so it was fine. But yeah, just a little chuckle of fisters.
Yep.
It's how it is.
Got the
First
fight,
one.
got the goal, got the Gordie. Kids were in the seats too. It was a sold out crowd. You said, right? Bring the kids at school. It was a 10:30 game, right?
That wasn't that game.
Oh, my bad.
That was in Portland. That was our first home game. And then we went down to Jacksonville. I mean, yeah, I can just continue into like that. But we went down to Jacksonville and.
Do you want to do some housekeeping notes, a couple shout outs and whatnot?
Yeah,
a little bit of love.
Get some housekeeping notes.
Yeah, let's get that out of the way. We got quite a few, a couple shout outs. We got Ethan Staples. He wants to be one of the viewers of the week. He says, I love beans and I love Pat. Pat can confirm this for me. He said, quote. So Ethan, shout out to you. Kane Bart, he said, I should be viewer of the week because I'm not Kane Van Gate. I said, that's a great answer.
Yeah, that's a
Jacob Jazwinski said, because he loves the podcast. Simple as that. Ryden, he's a Winnipeg boy, loves the city, loves the podcast. Ryden, shout out to you, buddy. And then Daner, because he said he's all about that 4-piece and the soda lifestyle. So we got a lot of love to go around, and podcast has been growing lately, which is awesome. To anybody who's hopped on the podcast, listen on the audio version, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, the video version, we just want to say thank you. Pat and I talked about this last couple of weeks, but this is the one thing that we really look forward to doing every week. I know we're, YouTubers by definition, but the podcast's been growing, and it's because of the people listening. So just want to say thank you to everybody for making that possible, and happy to have you here for our weekly programming.
We are at 950 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click that, and let's get to 1,000 so the boys can start monetizing.
Get monetized. Yeah,
the pod a little here.
Yeah, that's one thing that we do need to talk about at some point in today's podcast. But so to get monetized on YouTube, you need 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours. We have breezed past the 4,000 watch hours mark. We're waiting for that 1,000 subscriber, and then boom, channel's monetized, the podcast is monetized. We actually have one less ad this week than last week, which my dad would love to hear.
Yes.
Just in hopes that you'll subscribe to the podcast on YouTube and we'll get monetized. So that's exciting. Do we want to dive into the Sean Avery thing off the bat?
Yeah, no. So this is let's do that.
We've been saving this for a few days.
We had Trav got into DMs with Avery because you're a DM slider. You slide.
Oh, you have no idea.
You have more success with guys than girls, including Sean Avery.
Yep.
So he asked him, obviously, want to come on the pod. We tried a while back, and he didn't really give an answer. Because we have I have a mutual connection. My dad's good friend is Avery's good friend. We tried to use it. I don't know if we worded it right. We might have messed up. Whatever. Time goes by, and then he responded with oh, I just listened to the last episode. Pretty much said it was shit, and then said reach back out in November or something. I'll be filming a movie. Or I'll have time or some shit. I don't know. Whatever. So. He might come on the pod. Then Trav gets back into connection recently, and he tells me Avery said he'll come on. Was it like January area? Did you say?
No, he said he'll come on anytime.
Oh, okay. So anytime, but he charges $300. Trav's, texting me. He's like, I think it's worth it. Good, he's good. He's good promotion, like good draw. He's entertaining. Blah blah blah. I'm like, yes, he is. He is all those things. He's definitely a big draw.
Yep.
Very. He's controversial in a lot of ways. It's fun conversation. And then he was like hated when he played, so that makes it more like he's got the. It's similar to how you are with YouTube.
Yes.
He's hated and loved, but I'm laughing to myself. I'm like, he's charging 300, but your Trav doesn't really kind of breezes over it a little. He's like, I think it's worth it. But I'm like, wait, hold on. How's he better than Kask? Because you've been ripping for like three to 6 months now, I think.
Oh, about better half of 6 months since episode
about
3.
How Kaskisuo here charges people for podcast appearances. Meanwhile, Sean Avery is also charging for podcast appearances.
Allow me to clarify a few things first. First off, Avery said he listened to the podcast with Kaskisuo and he said it sucks. Quote, it sucks. You need to pick it up, boys. You got to be better than this. That's literally what he said in the messages. So
naturally, we blamed Kask.
Yes. That was the first thing Pat said to me. He's like, well, I mean, the guest sucked, so that's why he didn't like it. I'm like, I mean, that's one way to look at it. Well, that's one way to look at it.
So he listened to that episode and then proceeded to not give a fuck and charge you 300. Maybe he's making power moves.
Well, so let me explain a few things. So first off, Avery emailed me and he said, "Do you listen to my podcast today?" And I said, "Nope, I haven't had a chance. I'm just waking up. I'll have a listen to it right now." He said, "Okay, listen to it. Get back to me." I listened to it. He says, "Hey, I got a lot of people ask me to come on their podcast. I don't want to be the guy to make your podcast great," which is very valid. He's a very big name in the community. Like he is a guy that people will listen to because he's Sean Avery. He's very polarized. I think he's very entertaining. A lot of people do as well for obvious reasons. He's got almost 500,000 followers on Instagram for a reason. Some of the best hockey play-by-play on Instagram stories, period. And so I'm charging $300 US a pop for a podcast. You get 50 minutes of my time. You tell me when, but you got to pay $300 for an appearance. And for me, I thought this is great. This is way better than Kaskisuo because Avery's coming out. He's public about it. He doesn't hide. He doesn't pull any punches. He's like, listen, my time is valuable. $300 US a pop. If you want it, great. If you don't, too bad. Kaskisuo is not charging us for podcasts. He's going behind emails and going behind messages and charging kids. Like, kid message him, "Hey, like I want to have you on my school project and do a little report on you. Can I have a couple minutes of your time to ask you some questions?" Sure, $125 for a kid in school. Meanwhile, us, the podcasters, he's not charging because he wants some clout. That's what I don't like, is the taking advantage of kids in the community and only being in it for yourself to make money, as opposed to like Avery has an actual established brand. Like, We've hit the nail on the head. Like I loved your impression of Kaskisuo a couple weeks ago with eating the celery sticks. That was like the best thing I'd seen all week. And Pat's just sitting there eating the celery sticks, and he's like, "Kaz here, just eating my vegan food and just FaceTime on my woman, living the vegan lifestyle."
Did I do that?
I stopped a few pucks. Yes, it was hilarious. I literally crapped my diaper laughing at your impression of him. It was great. But the point that I wanted to drive home is that Avery is very entertaining, very polarizing. You look at any podcast appearance he's ever made with anybody else, Chicklets, Cam and Strix, anybody, it always is over the top, and he gives you what you want. I'm not paying $125 for a guy to come and talk about vegetables and that, I had a good day of practice today, and all this kind of like. I don't care about that. I want a guy who's going to be polarized. And Avery has very polarizing opinions on the vaccine mandates in sports and in life, all that stuff. Like that $300 you're paying for Avery, I think personally you're getting more than $300 of value. Now, have we made $300 in this podcast to date? Barely. So we've basically wasted 6 months of work to have podcast episode,
No, so I agree. I think if like someone's worth paying for an appearance, he's someone that's worth paying for an appearance, but it becomes hypocritical. I
think it becomes hypocritical if he was doing the same thing as Kaskisuo, where he's hiding behind emails and messages.
Yeah, no,
he's coming
I'm not saying either. Like, because paying
also,
so charging for a podcast is.
I want to explain one very brief thing that I have not put on the podcast, and this is what really pissed me off the other day. So I guess we'll put on the podcast. So Kaskisuo reaches out to me probably about a month ago, and Pat and I talked about this. He reaches out, he's like, "Hey man, I don't deserve any bad PR. Why are you bashing me? I quit. I stopped charging kids for podcasts a long time ago. I'm just, I love the game. I love the community."
Now. I'm done.
Like he's okay. Like, listen, I'm a man of opportunity. If you can come up and say, hey, listen, I screwed up, I made a mistake, I'm all for it. Like, if you have the the balls to be a man and do that, I'm 100% all in. Here to support you, here for you. Great. Take him at face value. I make a couple criticisms. He completely ignores it and just goes by that and says, hey, just make sure you're not bashing me online. I immediately get the vibe he's just doing some damage control, some PR management, which is fair. The guy's very peacefully, and I call Pat about it. And then we check, my Instagram page and then the Bizkit YouTube channel page a day later. His wife is just absolutely verbally assaulting us, calling us, well, I guess you because you're affiliated with me, but me specifically, that I'm a dirtbag, I'm a scumbag. How dare you come after my husband? We've been dirt poor and in a parking lot with our newborn kid, not making any money. My husband had to pick up a side job. We only made $75,000 US a year last year in the American League. I don't know what you're talking about, $7 million, whatever. I'm like, 75,000. I don't think Pat and I have made that in the last 5 years combined.
Yeah. But who has though?
Manscaped.com?
No.
Well,
I'm sure they have, but Sean Avery.
Oh, Sean Avery. Sorry. Yeah. Hey, we're trying to sell it. We're trying to sell, right?
Yeah, we are. We always are.
Always a used car salesman.
So, yeah. Okay. So maybe I haven't talked to Cass the amount of you have. You guys had, he called you out. You guys were like chucking fictional fists in DMs, like back and forth.
He's doing it over DMs because he doesn't want to have it be public. And I respect it. Like I've said to you multiple times.
His wife doesn't care. She's just.
This is the part that bothers me. And I respect the guy as an athlete. I understand what he does on a daily basis, and he doesn't want our podcast and him charging for kids to come and affect him. And I get that. Like, I don't want that to come and be something that cost him his job, cost him his career, cost him an opportunity in hockey. I get it's very hard to find opportunities. I get it. I totally do.
But I don't think that's something that would ever cost him his job. I just think that's just
if something comes up, in the media or like on our podcast or something where like he's literally sending his wife after me and after you to do his dirty work, like, I would never say anything, but my wife sure can't. Like, come on. Are you serious?
She said Trav's just jealous. She's in your DMs. Trav's just jealous.
Yeah, she's leaving comments. She's like, I just want everybody to know that Kasimir does not care about what Trav says. He does not care about what Trav says, but what he does, nothing. And I'm like, why are you commenting this in the podcast? Like, if you really cared, you wouldn't comment. Like, am I wrong?
Well, no, they care.
Well, they care, but like honestly, on just like a morals basis, I get it. He doesn't like me. He doesn't like that we talk about these kind of things. What kind of man sends his woman after you? Like, seriously, like, what kind of man?
I feel like it was more her decision. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think he sent he just called up the dogs and just sends his wife after you.
That's the vibe I get.
You're
I'm
in
big
for a
on
rude
vibes.
awakening now, Travis.
He's gonna send Mrs.
You're
K
getting
after
wifey.
me. Mrs. K is really gonna send the dogs after me. She's gonna tune me up.
Pissed. He was probably just telling her about the situation, and then she just like took it upon herself to come like after you.
Okay, but this is how I was raised, and this is something my dad always pounded into me from like the earliest days of my childhood. Is like, if you make a mistake and you want to fix something, be a man. Bring it up. Like, tell the person. Don't go hide behind DMs and emails. Don't send your wife to go do your dirty work. Message me. I'm an adult. You're an adult. Let's have an adult conversation. You got a problem with what I'm saying? You got a problem with what I'm doing? Tell it to my face. I know you can't because he's in the bushes of Sweden.
This is all non-facial. There's no facials going on here.
Well, I hope there's no facials going on. I'd be worried if there was.
But no facials.
Let's just be men about this. Let's not be a bunch of high school girls. Let's be men about this. That's the part that pisses me off. And to bring it back home, this is why I would pay $300 for Avery. I would pay that in a heartbeat if we actually had the money. Like, if we were making that every podcast, done. Sign me up. Let's get Avery on tomorrow.
No, I agree. I think he's someone worth his price.
2 episodes. We'll do it in 2 episodes, and we'll do 25 minutes of ads.
Well, I'm just being, I'm playing the devil's advocate here.
As you always
He's
do.
someone who he's made millions throughout his career. He's got a lot of money. He's still acting. He makes money off his podcast. He's set for money. He's not struggling at all. But is saying, here, I'm going to charge. If you want me, I'm going to charge for my time. Similar to Kask's reasoning, but Kask obviously, like, you found out, I know who, like, the girl you're talking about who is young and whatever.
Yeah.
He's charging for her appearance on the podcast, which is, morally, we didn't think to do that. We hadn't agreed to. But now maybe if you're in Sean Avery's shoes, you see it from his eyes, though. So does that make you a little bit hypocritical? Because maybe you just have some tension towards Cass.
I will admit it. There is a little bit of tension. I'm not a fan of him. We've talked about this. I think it's very obvious. I'd be curious, as always. Leave a comment on the video version of the podcast. I'm looking at you. You're watching the podcast. Leave a comment. Let me know. Am I wrong? Mrs. Kaskisuo, I'm sure you'll be in the comments as well. I look forward to reading your comment. But the thing that really gets me excited about Avery is that he's a hot commodity, like we've talked about already. And now that he's charging $300 an episode, that barrier to entry is higher. So less people are going to want to get him. So if we put together $300 to get him on the podcast, we are now getting an even rarer version of Sean Avery because not everybody can get him. He's not putting aside time for everybody. And then also, I mean, this is like really, really hypothetical, but say we get him on the podcast, we gel, we have some vibes, we have a great conversation and whatnot. Maybe we build off of it from there. Maybe he's willing to invite us onto his podcast, or we do some type of networking. Like, you never know. And one of the big reasons that he talked about in his podcast was his producer, I believe it was his producer, actually did a cameo for him, or he did a cameo for his producer and asked for a job. Boom, got the job. So you never know what's possible in that sense. And that's what's got me really excited about that.
Yeah. I'm thinking about charging now for podcast appearances myself. If you guys want me on your podcast, DM me. I'm not as pricey, just $17 and I'll come on. I just need a little bit of chipotle money per week. It's the rookie coast contracts aren't that good.
There's no per diem.
Well, you do get per diem on the road, so that's good. But when I'm home, it's a struggle. It's a struggle.
What does Kaskisuo charge? $125?
I think it was like $150, right? Some shit like that.
Okay, I'll do $119.95 if you want me on your podcast. I'll undercut him. $119.95.
Okay. And out of curiosity, how much is a Manscaped lawnmower?
A Manscaped lawnmower depends. Do you want the lawnmower? Or do you want the performance package? Do you want the best a man can get, Pat Shea?
I want the whole thing. Tell me about the whole thing.
Well, let's talk about it for a second, okay? Gentlemen, listen up here, okay? Talked about it all the time. You want to become a sexual Tyrannosaurus. You want to power your way. You want to body your way through date night. You want to, hustle and bustle. You want to Pat Shea the Frenchman on the Trois Riviera men in the East Coast and the Cheeser. This is the way to do it. You get the Lawnmower 4 from the folks at Manscaped. Amazing company, money back guarantee. It does everything for you. You need your chest hair taken care of, your gooch hairs. Those are sometimes tough to get into. Your balls hair.
100.
Here's another one for you too. I love using it as a beard trimmer to kind of taper my beard. As you can see, I got rid of my mustache because it was getting itchy, and I got the little number 1 on the chin, and I got a number 0 right down to the wood on the rest of my skin, and it's because of this. So Manscaped makes it possible. The best a man can get. Pat Shea, you want to tell a quick little story about how the lawnmower has changed your life, both on and off the ice?
Yeah.
Once upon a time?
Actually, well, recently, I don't know. I became a pro, so I wanted to, maybe look a little more grizzled, look a little older, and I let my chest hair flow.
Seasoned.
And my beard a little bit. And I started looking in the mirror, like I got down to Jacksonville. And I was looking in the mirror at the hotel, and hotel lighting makes everything more prominent. And I'm looking in the mirror, and I just see all this gross chest hair flowing out on my stomach, my shoulders, and I'm like, I've become a product of Jacksonville, Florida, which is not the best area. And I just looked greasy, like I hadn't showered in days. I looked fat. I was looking in the mirror, and I'm like, my stomach's covered with hair. Where are my abs?
Yeah.
I'm like dad bod Zac Efron. Everyone's just calling him fat, even though maybe he's not under all that. Maybe all he needed was a Manscaped lawnmower. So I made the decision mid-road trip to pull out the Manscaped lawnmower and just shave it off. And all of a sudden, I'm looking in the mirror, I'm feeling like me again. I got some abs. I'm doing crunches. I feel loose. I'm doing the McGregor flow. It's crazy how much mentally you just feel better and more fit after shaving your chest hair and stomach hair. If you have some, it takes off that layer, and you look good. You look great. Don't become one of Jacksonville's finest.
Yes, our boy Fred Durst is from Jacksonville, Florida, and that's okay because you can go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code BIZKIT, BIZKIT. You're going to get 20% off, free shipping. Pat will actually go from Jacksonville to the San Diego factory and ship it for you because he is in the country. I am not. We'll make it happen for you. Thanks as always to the folks at Manscaped for sponsoring the podcast, making it possible as always. And to those who pick one up, thank you for your support. and making everything possible. So it is not possible without you.
I agree with everything you just said. But that is a good transition actually to a story that I have.
Yeah.
When I was in Jacksonville, so we went to Top Golf. You know, we had a day off down in a mid road trip, which is nice, dude. When you're playing, side note, like we had 4 games in 5 nights. We had 5 games in 7 nights in this week trip. It was a lot. We get the day off. Very nice. Rest the legs. We go to Top Golf with the boys. We're torquing some clubs around, you know. And then after, we're waiting around. We all got to call Ubers back to the hotel. And so I grab a couple of the guys. I'm like, hey, you guys want to hop in with it? All right, so we get like a little 4-way Uber, little Uber pool. We're all like splitting it. It's great. We have Michael. Michael's the Uber driver. I'm like, oh, that's Michael here. There he is. He's pulling up, and he's kind of like looking a little lost. Michael is. He's like looking around. We're like, what's Michael doing? So we're like standing by his car, and he's just like dapping up the guy he just had, and the guy's giving him a big tip. He's like and then we're like, Michael, and he's like, shit, you guys my next ride? And we're like, yeah, Michael, right? He's like, yeah, man, hell yeah, get in, man, where y'all going? And I'm like, we're like, oh, the hotel, blah blah blah, it's 20 minutes away. He's like, you guys got updated, it says it's telling me to turn around, it says it's a minute away. I'm like, no, you actually have to start the ride there, Michael. Like, start. And he's like, oh shit. So he's like, man, my bad. I'm like, yep, Uber driver myself. I know how it works. He's like, yeah, so I'm not actually, an Uber driver. My full-time thing is I'm actually, I'm a rapper. I'm the second man from Jacksonville to sign a record label. Fred Durst being number 1, I assume.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like, naturally, if someone who is an Uber driver tells you signed a record label, you just kind of second guess it a little, naturally.
Mm-hmm. Grain of salt, yep.
So then I'm like, oh, like, you gonna spit some bars for us? He says he's the fastest rapper on this side of the whatever Mississippi.
Oh, the Mississippi.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, you gonna spit some bars for us? And he says, yeah, man. If I don't cry first.
Oh no.
So I'm Ubering right now because, my wife, man, she's sick, and I need to get the medication. I got to get the medication before 7:00. And I do whatever I can for my family, man. I just got to make that money before 7:00 so I can pick up her medication. I'm just doing what I can. My wife, when I was away I was about to go on tour, and my house got broken into, and my wife got shot. And, I wasn't there. Now I'm here. I just got to make that money for my family. Blah, blah, blah. And carries on. Then he's like, all right, y'all want to hear my album? Like, what? I'm just like so thrown. I'm like, what the fuck? We're so sorry to hear that, sir. Like, what? And
it's terrible.
Yeah, it is, right? And then he starts playing his songs. And they're okay. They're not bad. But he didn't sign a record label. No. He just tossed his music on. He didn't actually. This album wasn't even out yet. So he had we're like, is this on Spotify? He's like, no. I used to have a group where we're on Spotify. But the I fucking forget the name. Let me see if I have it here. But he's working on a solo album, and he's like, this is my wife's favorite song. He starts playing his solo songs, and they're decent. Except he's like, I rap about real shit.
So his wife didn't get shot?
He's like, listen to the lyrics. And then I'm listening to the lyrics, and it's like, y'all acting like y'all a thug, but really it looks like you just need a hug. I'm like, yeah, that was bars. Like, yeah, you need a hug. I'm just saying, like, what the that was not hard. That was not a hard lyric.
So his wife didn't get shot, and he doesn't have a record label.
This is where I'm going with the story.
Okay.
He plays all his music, and he's like, yo, f***ing with this. He's like screaming and shit, and he's rapping along, and he's like rapping fast. He's like, yo, f***ing with this shit. like, yeah, man, this shit. We're just a bunch of, white dudes. Like, yes, this goes hard. Like,
Like
all
8 minutes left in the drive.
We're like, yes, this is fire. He's just like spitting. We're like, yeah. Don't crash the car, man. He's gunning like turns back and forth. Like, you with this? Turning the car with him. Like, I'm with this. We want to be on his good side. And then we start getting close to the hotel, and he turns the music off. He's like, man, I hope y'all liked it. Like I was saying before, man, I just gotta make $100, before 7:00, because my wife in the hospital. I gotta get a medication, gotta get that medication. Anything helps, man. Before, if I gotta drive down to, he named some like where St. Augustine, so be it. For my family, I got kids, man. I got, I'm trying to help out, blah blah blah. So then I'm like, okay, I see what's happening here. I'm not stupid. Tell me if you guys think I'm wrong here. But my take on the whole thing was, this guy is full of shit, a complete fraud. Because one, you didn't sign a record label. Like, you put your music on Spotify. Anyone can do that. You didn't have listens. There's no real listens going on here. And then you're the full wrap up begging for the tips. This guy put on an act, in my opinion. Full story. Pretty good actor. Just to get tips to try to make $100 before 7:00 to make a little extra money while Ubering. Did you think it's a bad read by me?
No, I said welcome to Cheeser. Welcome to the coast.
Dude, what a trip.
Did he have a nickname, or is it just Michael?
Dude, I forget he did. Hold on.
You should have got the nickname, because you can tell a lot about a person by their nickname. I searched it,
so I think I might have it. Oh yeah, so he had, like, when he was playing the music, his nickname was Garcia Vega, but there wasn't. I was searching that while he was playing it, and there was nothing. So his group was Trauma Unit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Inspired by his wife.
Let me see on Spotify if I have any.
Oh boy.
He was just, dude, I think he just made up the whole thing about his wife and everything.
You don't say. What was your first clue?
So on Spotify, he has 3 monthly listeners, and he's out here telling me he signed a record label, and he has 3 monthly listeners.
Good for Michael. Good. Good for this guy.
Hey, he's a hustler. Him and Kaskisuo.
Maybe we should put them in touch. What do you say?
Yeah, just out here hustling, trying to do the damn thing.
Vegan Vega. There's their record label.
Interesting.
That's the name.
Interesting experience for sure.
Well, why don't we transition out of Michael and Vegan Vega and him and Kaskisuo's new record label? What was I going to say? Nicknames. You can tell a lot about a person by their nickname. Can you not?
I'd say so.
Like Darren the Gorilla Till in the UFC. Like, what a nickname! Can you imagine? Like, you come into work one day and they're like, you're like, the Gorilla's here. Who's that? Who's that? Like, or what's another nickname? Like the Hammer. Like, if you come in and somebody nails or nicknames you the Hammer, you're not getting that nickname because you're soft.
You're a nail gun. Hammer.
There are the nails and there are the hammers, and you are the hammer.
Yeah.
Ted in accounting is the nail. You are the hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Shotgun Ronnie. The nail gun.
No, that's truth. You know what else you can, like, represent? Someone's. Do you know, like, someone's personality? Do you feel like I feel like it is represented by the way that they skate or play hockey? Like, if you take
100%.
Someone, the way that their, like, stride and skate is and the way that they play on the ice is like a representation or a shadow of their personality. It's very interesting.
Let me critique that just a touch. The body language that they carry on the ice is a direct indicator of their personality. Maybe not so much the skating stride, just like the way they play the game. Are they energetic? Are they are they in your face? Are they annoying? Like, are they like everything that they do on the ice will tell you about that person off the ice as a person. Like Brad Marchand, need I say any more? Carey Price, need I say any more? Like, you can tell a lot about that kind of stuff. Curtis Gabriel, nail gun, absolute nail gun, stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting. We started looking into like guys at Maine at one point. We're like looking at their personality and then like seeing the way they skate and play. We're like, wow, it's funny
Makes
how
sense.
that works.
Yeah, makes a
But
lot of sense, eh?
yeah, but anyway, yeah, nicknames. I agree, 100%. You got a nickname called fucking Hammer. You don't put that person, or it's it's a game. It's a Michael type thing. You know, like you call this guy the Hammer to try to scare people, but really he ain't no hammer. You know.
You know what we could do one day is if me and you were in person shooting video, you could just come up to everybody that I'm with, be like, Hammer, Hammer, how you do? Oh, sorry guys, that's Pat. Hammer, Trav, how you doing, Hammer?
Think you're talking about my cock.
Something,
Hammer cock.
Something about him represents a hammer. We don't know what. Speaking of hammers, can we talk about Nilsson and Callie for a second?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a goodie. So let's dial things back a bit. So Pat was not here for last week's episode. Obviously, he was on a plane while me and Callie were recording the episode. But my dad wants to legally disown me after he heard me say on the podcast I will be cheering for Sweden at the World Juniors this year. And my dad was very vocal about it over text and disappointed. First off, initial thoughts. Pat, who are you cheering for the World Juniors, and what are your thoughts on my dad's decision to want to legally disown me after this?
Well, you know, I typically always cheer for USA.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you know, the home country, and they're like Canada's expected to win. Mm-hmm. It's cool to see like if Sweden won is like better for me than Canada, because Canada's like expected to win, especially in the Olympics, and you know. So it's like our World Juniors. It's good to see. Like obviously, I'm wanting USA to win. It's promising to see. So I cheer for them because I'm from there. But honestly, like I don't want Canada to win. It's not against Canada. It's just like.
But that's a USA thing, no?
What's like to
like it's a USA Canada rivalry. Like you want the USA to win, Canada wants.
Sure. Yeah, it's a rivalry.
And I'm sure my dad feels the same way. My dad doesn't want the USA to have any sniff at the gold, and vice versa. But I was thinking recently, and like it's so hard in this world right now to find people that are good to you, that treat you with respect or are there to help you out and just are good people. And like through having like both Wallstead and Callie like on the podcast, which is great, but just like exchanging DMs with them, talking to them and whatnot, like they just seem like stand-up people. Like Wallstead just strikes me as this guy, like especially over Instagram DM conversations, he's just a genuine nice guy. Like, and everybody that has listened to the podcast or so, like I put a TikTok up about him the other day. It did like 500,000 views, and everybody commenting on it was like, "This guy's an amazing guy. He's just a great person, a great human being." Nice. Honestly, like everybody in the Iilya community. Right?
Yeah, it's what you like to hear from the comments, but what you like don't want to hear from a girl. Oh, he's so nice.
Oh, shut up! You're ruining the story. I feel like my mom, like, stop it, bad, stop it right now.
No, but he is a good kid.
Yeah, like he's just such a nice dude. Like he's and Callie the same thing. Like Callie, I guess I didn't tell the story how Callie and I got in touch, but I was watching one of the Rogli games on TV, and I posted a picture of him and I tagged him, and he saw it, and we started DMing, and he messaged me back, and we started going back and forth. He's like, "Hey, you ever want tickets to a game? Let me know." I'm like, I heard free. I would love to go.
You're the SHL's biggest fan now.
I am Rogli's biggest fan, and
you have been going.
Well, and I get it. Like the tickets are like $10 a piece. He doesn't really have to do anything to give them to me. Like he just has to, make a call, send an email, hey, give Travis some tickets. But like that to me, as somebody who, like growing up, I never had a lot of stuff like this. So for somebody to do that for me, it means a lot to me, and I feel. I don't know, maybe indebted is the word, but like for their hospitality and how nice both of them were, I feel like, Wallstead, reposted shared the podcast. Callie, shared the podcast. They came on the podcast, didn't charge us. We're cool about it. We've had some good conversations. Me and Wallstead are talking about right now doing something in January, right when he gets back from the World Juniors. Have I talked to you about this or no?
No.
Okay, so the Max Burger sponsorship that we talked about is happening. So nice. I've gotten in touch. Not 100% confirmed, but they want to do something with their new quarterly release specialty burger in January. God. The plan is not 100% confirmed. They want to get me out on the train from Gothenburg to Stockholm, from Stockholm to Iilya, go to a game for Iilya to watch Wallstead play, and then go to the original Max right across like the straight from the rink and do like a burger taste testing with Wallstead. And I was hoping we could do something skating on one of like a frozen pond out there because it's so cold, and then have it like, hey, we had a great skate, and Max saved the day. We got some burgers and some shakes to tie us over on this pond. And so like Wallstead's been totally cool about all that stuff, and Cali as well. And I just feel that with how nice they've been to me and to you as well, because we're a team with the podcast, and I love this country to begin with. I just feel that I should support them, and I want to support them. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I'm a fan. Like,
sure.
You know how I love Connor Hellebuck? I will be the first person to own a Jesper Wallstead Minnesota jersey. And if there's somebody who beats me to it, watch out. I will show up at your doorstep in the middle of the night. Trust me.
Not play around.
I don't fool around.
And at that, speaking of like games, like World Cup or maybe the NHL game, just if you're looking to bet on them, you can use mybookie.ag, and this is the second sponsor and final sponsor of the video. We only have 2 today, so a little more time for chatter. But guys, if you're looking to bet on any sports game, go over there to mybookie.ag, or if you're looking to bet on the UFC fights, boxing fights, Jake Paul versus Tommy, why am I drawing a blank? Fury, Tommy Fumbles, Tommy Fury. Yeah, if you want to bet on anything, sorry, let me try that again. If you want to bet on anything at all, go over there and sign up using my code PATSHEA. Now there was some confusion. Eddie Trailmax went on there and he struggled doing this. I went on and signed up myself and put $45 in, just because using my own code, and it worked. So what you have to do is you pop over, you go into the sign up, you start filling out the information, then it comes to the referral code section. You type in Pat Shea, all caps, no spaces, Pat Shea. And then it brings you to this next part of the website where it's a deposit. It offers you to put your first deposit in, minimum $45. So if you put anywhere, I think the max is 1,000. You put anywhere in between that, and then you deposit it, it'll instantly double it. So for me, I put $45 in to test it out to see if Ed was crazy, and it put, next thing I know, $90 up top on the screen. So it doubled it instantly. But I think what you have to do is just, when you sign up, make the deposit so you have the money there, and then you can go and bet it on whatever you want. So I know there was some confusion there, but if you're looking to sports bet, it's legal. It's the spot to do it. You're going to get double your money, and then obviously if you win, you're getting double the winnings. So that's the spot to do it. mybookie.ag. Head over there now, use the code, sign up, and let me know if you do, and I'll give you the old pat in the back. Thank you. Little thank you. That's all I can offer right now. But yeah, I appreciate it.
We'll make you viewer of the week. You can be viewer of the week if you buy something.
Yeah, look at that. You'd be viewer of the week. Let me know if you bet. So good stuff. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Back to the podcast now.
Yeah, side note, if anybody picks up something from one of our sponsors, Manscaped, Sheath Underwear, MyBookie, send me a message, send Pat a message, and you're the viewer of the week, your commenter of the week, listener of the week, whatever you want to be. We appreciate your support. So that is great. We got about 10 minutes left in the programming, and what do you say we go full steam ahead? You want to talk about the Nilsson thing real quick?
Yeah. Carry on, too.
Yeah, so... Anyway, so to kind of pick it back up on the Wallstead Cali Klang story. So Cali got me tickets to some SHL games. I'm going again to the game tomorrow, and then he got me tickets to the World Junior Preview Series to see Finland and Sweden, and then Russia and the Czechs. And so we go to the Sweden game, and oh my god, there's so many scouts there, coaches, whatnot. Like I'm sitting beside the Rogla president, right? Like the guy's sitting behind me, and he's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, just watching the game. One of the guys gave us tickets. Who? Cali Klang. Oh, really? How do you know him? Oh, well, he watches my vlogs, likes the videos. Oh, really? He plays for me. What do you mean? Oh, I'm the president of Rogla. Cool, sweet. Have a great conversation." And he moves, and then one of the guys that I took to the game says, "Trav, that's Anders Nilsson over there. Look at that." I'm like, "No way." I love Anders Nilsson. I'm a huge fan, and I'm not just an Anders Nilsson fan. I'm an Anders Nilsson fan when he was in Edmonton. Like that's So he's talking to some scout for about 10 minutes. I'm like, you know what?
Anders.
Damn. I was like, damn it all.
Trav started screaming across the rink. Anders. He didn't. Anders, it's me. It's Travis.
I love you. Your hair is great. No.
So he was kind of giving him like the look away,
So I said, damn it all. I was a fan in Edmonton. He owes it to me to acknowledge me. I'm walking over there. I'm taking my tripod, my camera, and I'm going to go ask him for a picture and tell him I'm a fan. So damn it all. That's exactly what I went and I did. He literally finished the conversation right as I walked over. And I said, hey, Anders, just wanted to say, man, I'm a huge fan, especially in your time in Edmonton. And he's like, oh, thank you so much. And he had a smile on his face, like as if he's like, oh, nobody's ever told me that before. So that was great. He shakes my hand. I get a picture with him and a video for the vlog, which is great. And then when I put the camera down, he stopped and talked to me for like 5 minutes, asked me about my experience in Sweden. What am I doing? Like just a genuine nice guy. And I was like, that's fucking awesome. I really, sorry for swearing, but I really appreciate that. So we go back to my seat. We watch the third period. And I think to myself, I'm like, you know what? Pat and I always talk like jokingly about like we see somebody in public, like shoot your shot, ask for a podcast. I said, when else am I going to see Anders Nilsson in public? You know what? Like worst case, he tells me to beat it. I've tried DMing him like 5 times over the years and never heard back. Whatever, I'll try in person. Shoot. So I go over there. I asked him a couple questions to warm him up, and then I said, sorry to bother you, Anders, but I got a podcast I recently started. I was curious if you'd be interested in coming on. We could talk a little bit about your story. And he gives me an immediate like, I'm really busy. And I was like, oh. By the way, before I forget, Jesper Wallstedt, the guy you're scouting, he was actually on a podcast 2 weeks ago. He's like, oh, sure. Yeah. Tell me what time. I'll give you my email. We'll talk. We'll confirm a time. So exchange information. And Anders is coming on next week. So next week, Monday, because we record every Monday. Next week, a week from today, he's coming on the podcast. So if you have a question for Anders you want us to ask, you want someone to know, I'll put up an Instagram story like I always do on Saturday or Sunday. But also leave it in the comment section on the YouTube version, and we'll ask it for you because I am so stoked to have Anders in the podcast. And it's all because of, again, that's because of Callie. Because Callie gave me tickets and invited me out. So
we love it.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you wanted to go over? I think my life has basically been recapped.
Oh, yeah, it just reminded me. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it reminded me that at the Orlando game, which, by the way, it gets a great crowd in Orlando for whatever reason. Apparently, they like hockey.
Shout out the Solar Bears.
The Solar Bears.
Yeah.
They
what a
like
logo.
solar. They care about the earth and in there with their bears, but. Yeah. They play at the Orlando Magic Arena, which I didn't know going in there. So I'm walking in. I'm like, Jesus, this rink is sick. Like,
Jesus, Jacob, this is sick.
Yeah, I'm trying to put it together. I'm like talking to my teammate. I'm like, what's the main draw here? Like, what's the main team? It can't be the fucking ECHL team. I'm like trying to think. And like, I'm like, there's a basketball team.
Hey, Pat, look up to your right. You see that NBA championship banner? Yeah, there's an NBA team that plays here.
Dude, yeah. So I walked out there and looked up. I was like, holy fuck, that place is sick. But come game time, we just obviously thought it was going to be empty because it's like a basketball arena in Orlando. Yeah. I don't know. They're known for Disney, Mickey the Mouse, not ECHL hockey. But they had a good crowd. And right behind our bench was a little famous TikToker.
Really?
Yeah. So, famous on so she has like 3.5 million on TikTok, which is pretty good. Her name is Ali Schnacky. I don't know. You're not really TikTok. I used to watch TikTok more than I do now, but there's a dude.
I'm newly into TikTok.
Okay.
Newly into it. Yeah.
There's a dude, Noah Schnacky, and he makes like country music, country vibe music. And he'll use TikTok to promote it. He was early on it, so it popped early. He's got like 5-6 mil on TikTok, and it helps obviously get his streams on Spotify. So he's doing well. He makes solid music. But whatever, I used to watch him because he would do these things where it's like showing my sister my song for the first time. She doesn't know it's me, and then by the 100th time he did it, I kind of was putting it together. I'm like, you know what? She knows. She knows it. She knows it's him. There's no way that like 100 videos in, she doesn't know that it's his song. Right? It's him singing. They act surprised every time. Like, oh my God. But because of his videos, she ended up popping too because she got the pretty face. So she made her own TikToks. And then meanwhile, in between intermissions, someone's like, hey, Ali Schnacky, that TikToker's behind the bench. So I'm like, oh. Sure enough, there she is with her boyfriend. Such bullshit teasing me like that,
Yes, it's her fault.
We were debating, everyone was talking about like sliding, like we shall slide in her DMs.
See who gets a reply.
Yeah. Yeah, give it the old, hey, looking like a schnack behind the bench today. That was gonna be the go-to because of her name, but it didn't happen.
Oh man.
But it was fun celebrity appearance at EC. So in the NHL, you'll get like celebrity appearances like Mark Wahlberg might go to your game, Taylor Kitsch. In the ECHL we get TikTokers. So
hey, it's better than what we get in Sweden.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah. Hoping for Bryce Hall to be at the next one. We'll see.
Good luck, Chuck, with that one. Anyway, what do you say we cap it up? We got about 2 minutes of airtime left before we got to cap it. Couple little side notes. So, like we mentioned, we got Anders Nilsson coming on next week. The week after that, we're supposed to have Ilya Bryzgalov come on. His son, Vlad, shout out Vlad, watches my vlogs and DM me. And then after about a year of DMing him back, I was like, you related to Iilya? And he's like, yeah, I'm with my dad in the car right now. Boom. Asked him, your shoot again. Said he'll come on the podcast, I believe, the week after. And then the week after that, Nick the goalie, my boy from Vancouver, Nick the goalie, TikToker, is going to come on. We're going to have a nice little social media talk. And then we're going to do a Christmas episode. I think Pat and I have talked about this. If not, surprise. We're going to do a Christmas episode just answering viewer questions and bringing people on. Something that we'd like to do.
It's a gift.
Is, the gift that keeps on giving to say thank you. And that gift comes every Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern. Again, the YouTube version. Slangin The Bizkit YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We are 40-something subscribers away from getting monetized, which means less ads for you, more cash for us, and we can afford to get Sean Avery on the podcast. That next $300 is going to Sean Avery. We'll see you in June. Apple, Spotify, all the normal stuff. Thanks to Manscaped. Thanks to my bookie for taking care of the podcast. Thanks to Pat Shea for tolerating me for 35 episodes. Soon to be 36, I hope. And we'll see you Thursday at 8 a.m. for next week. And thanks to my dad for not disowning me quite yet. We'll update you on that next week. Pat, final words.
Thank you guys for coming.
Boom. That's the podcast. We always have great outros, eh?